And are we live? I think we're live. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I have to apologise right at the very beginning. I should be coughing a bit and hacking a bit. I'm afraid I'm sick again. It's all those aeroplanes, you know, and all that, excuse me, and all those, what they call it, the air conditioning and all that nasty stuff, germs going around everywhere. I'm sorry, I'm fiddling with the computer just to have I cut my head off there, Carolyn, or no?
No.
No. All right then. So, first of all, I'm hoping this is a good one today. First of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide Grey Eagle, who is sitting right here. As always, not sitting actually, but standing. As I said, sitting. I don't know why I said that. I don't know if you can hear the moaning and the groaning or the panting. It sounds like somebody's having fun on my sofa, but it's actually the puppy panting and panting away. There, and then to my far right we have Carolyn. Say good morning, Carolyn. I've missed this. I missed this.
Carolyn.
How many weeks is it, Carolyn?
Like 6.
Like 6, at least 6 or so. I think it might be 7 even. But anyway, so here we are. So Carolyn's back. Al hopefully is going to be joining us in a little while. Sorry, I'm going to apologise now for the coughing and the spluttering, but better that than not doing a show at all. So I'm finally back home in Florida. What news do I have for you? I'm back home in Florida. I left my daughter and my grandson in New York at the weekend. So on Saturday, I got here late Saturday afternoon, and I've been sick ever since. I think it's all the traveling, as I said, it's all the air conditioning and so on and so forth. But I also don't think that the red tide here has helped in any way. It's probably aggravated it, although I've not actually been out yet because I've been lying on the sofa feeling so sorry for myself. But I'm much better today, and I'm actually talking today. Look at this. This is a strange thing that happens to me. I have to tell you that I have traveled all over the world, and there have been times when I've been so sick. But whatever TV show, whatever event I've planned, whatever it is that I've done, I've always managed, no matter how sick I've been, and much sicker than this on some occasions, I've always managed to do the show or to do the TV thing or to, you know, to talk to people in huge crowds sometimes. I've always managed to somehow find the energy to do that. And then afterwards, I collapse. I'm hoping I'm not going to collapse today because I am feeling better than I have done over the last few days. So we're going to go for questions. But I do have to tell you, first and foremost, I am missing my daughter and I am missing my grandson because I've been with them for the last, 6 weeks almost, or not quite non-stop, not quite all the time, but almost. And I've had a blast. Yes, all of you grandparents out there who don't get the opportunity to spend so much time with your grandchildren, yes, I'm a lucky person, and I'm so grateful for it. I've also met some fabulous friends, both in Italy and my friends in England, many of which I haven't seen for the last 8 years. So I've had a great trip, and now we're back down to work, right, Carolyn? We're back to work with a vengeance. And the first thing we're going to do, I haven't spoken to Carolyn yet about this, but the first thing we're going to do is the cookbook.
Yay!
We are getting it out this Christmas, no matter what. I know we've said that for the last 2 Christmases, but this Christmas, it will happen, even if there are mistakes. I don't care what happens. You listening, Carolyn?
Yes.
We are getting it out there because I want to. So, all right. So let's have some questions from all you lovely people. Thank you, first of all, to all of you. It hasn't been easy. Last week, I think, was okay. The week before, we had jumping about all over the place. And in fact, it was so bad that Carolyn decided you couldn't post it, right? It was really so bad, which was a shame because my grandson was in that one. And you'd have seen his red boots that I bought him in England, which have turned out to be twice the size he actually needed. But that's beside the point. One day he'll be able to wear them. All right. Excuse me. So, Carolyn, can you give me a tissue, please? So, so anyway, Carolyn, why don't we have some questions? Let's dive in and
All
have the
right.
first question.
We've got a lot of welcome back, Rosemary and Carolyn. And Olivia has a question.
Good morning, Olivia.
Can we fall in love in heaven?
Oh, that's an interesting question. You know, I usually say that there aren't any surprises with the questions because over the years I've probably been asked every question you can imagine. I'm checking with Grey Eagle here, and the answer is yes, you can. But what kind of love? Because there are many different kinds of love. You see, never a question is an easy one. Never, never, never is there such a thing as a simple question. Because when you talk about can you fall in love, I immediately went to the can you meet a man and fall in love, you know, and all that stuff. But actually, Grey Eagle points out that there are many kinds of love. And so, yes, in many ways, you can fall in love. How about that? That's a definite yes, and also a bit of an escape because I'm not quite answering the question you might have thought to ask. All right, let's have our next question.
We might have a couple of new people here. You might want to explain a couple of things.
No, I'm not explaining anything. I've got no voice today.
Well, it's a quick explanation. Nicolina asked, can I get a reading?
Good morning, Nicolina. Yes, you can have a consultation. Yes. It's very expensive. Actually, not nearly as expensive as a lot of people when I think about it. I heard of somebody charging $1,000 the other day. I don't charge that much, trust me. But yes, if you want a consultation, so anybody out there, we should actually mention this at the end of every show, really. If you want a consultation, if you want to know more about us, email rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. It's such a simple, easy, you know, you can remember that easily. It's a waiting list for consults, but you know, if you pray for someone to have a cancellation or something, we'll usually fit you in. So yes, you can have a consultation by all means. Again, I will mention rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com.
She was more looking along the lines of what kind of signals will show me my Capricorn crush. She's a Sagittarius, so you might want to explain that.
Clue. I haven't a clue.
You do soul signs.
I am not an astrologer or an astronomer or any. I know a little bit about. Excuse me, a little bit about the stars, but not nearly enough. That is not my area of expertise. However, excuse me, we do have soul signs. People who first hear about soul signs do think that it's the same thing as astrology, but it is not. It is, first of all, we talk about how the soul is actually created, the different types of energy that the soul is created from, and therefore the different traits that each soul, character traits that each soul has. There are 12, actually there are 13 soul signs, so we're a little bit like in the way of astrology. But soul signs talks much more about who we are, why we behave the way we behave, the energy that we're created from, and what that energy does, and who we're attracted to, how it works, how people connect with each other energy-wise. For instance, just to give you a brief example, an earth sign, which is me, will have less compatibility with a fire sign than it will with a water sign. So soul signs explains everything you need to know about relationships. It explains everything you need to know about why your mother likes your brother better than you, why you and your father get on really well. What else does it explain? I mean, I'm talking here to, no, not that she's the guru of soul signs, because that would be me, but I would say that Carolyn, above and beyond everybody else I know, has read soul signs, intimately familiar with it, right?
I've used it twice this week.
She's used it twice this week,
yes.
and that's only this week. Yes. So you use it often, right?
Yes, I do, in relation to how people work.
So would you like to tell us briefly then how you use soul signs?
A good example is somebody was complaining to me how their significant other didn't like to have a confrontation. And I said,
right.
well, that's because they are a water sign. And
they're compromisers. They're the compromisers.
They don't want a big screaming and yelling thing. Let's just fix the problem and move on quietly.
And did your friend get it?
I know.
Yes,
that was their response.
So you've taught her before about this then.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so Soul Science is an amazing book. I've lost the thread of what the question was, something about astrology, but that's not my area of expertise. But your soul's energy, why, how, or in what way your soul will react to another soul it's a fascinating subject. And I think I can truthfully say that my assistant sitting next to me tells me that it's the best book you've ever read. Right?
I love the book. Yes.
Okay, all right then. Is it the best book you've ever read?
I believe so.
There you are then. Yes. Wait a minute.
No, I was going to say in the how-to category.
In the how-to.
I really love Stephen King. But, that's a different category.
Do you like him better than me? I love Stephen King. You don't even have to answer that, Karen. He is... people think of Stephen King and they think of horror. When I think of Stephen King, I think that he is so underestimated by so many people, because I personally think he's one of the greatest writers of our age. The way he uses words, forget the subject, forget the topic that he writes about, the way he uses words and phrases is just is thrilling to me. I wish I could write as well as he does. Let's have our next question.
All right, we have got Deborah.
Good morning, Deborah.
Rosemary, do they celebrate birthdays in the spirit world?
Yes, they do. How about that? That's a quick one. Yes, they do. And let me explain further. When it's the birthday of someone in the family, whether they're in the spirit world or whether they're here on this earth plane, those in the spirit world will gather around you. If it's your birthday or your anniversary, they'll gather at the time of a birth. They'll certainly gather at the time of a death. Yes, the celebrations go on all the time with people in the spirit world. Even more so, I think, than perhaps people celebrated when they were here. They know they've got more to celebrate now. They understand better. They know they've got much more to celebrate than they perhaps realized when they were here on this earth. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to keep apologizing for the choking and the thing, and I hope it's not annoying all of you. It's really annoying me. But let's have our next question, shall we?
James.
Good morning, Jane.
Your friend James is commenting about soul signs.
My friend.
Who's that? Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. I forget. I see
Good
James.
morning, Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. Oh, well. Yes. Come on, let's have this comment, Jeff.
He says, Soul Signs, the book, truly helped my wife and I navigate the loss of our son and helped our 40-year marriage get better.
Thank you for that, Jeff. She called you James. Can you believe she called you James?
Well, that's because that's what it comes up as.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah,
really?
James.
You're not writing it in properly, Jeff. Yes, well, Jeff, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I'm going to say this anyway, but Jeff is a fire sign, very much so. I love you, Jeff. I love you. But earth signs, as you know, because your wife's an earth sign, we have difficulty with fire signs. So thank goodness that your wife is a different, she's an earth sign, but she's a different soul sign than me. Much more, she's a nicer person than I am. Let me say it that way. And I think that I'm talking about you as if you're not here now. My friend Jeff and his wife have a fabulous marriage. I can say they have a great relationship, have gone through a lot of heartache, losing their son and so on. But I think that soul signs perhaps did help them to explain the differences that they have. And I think it's fair to say, Jeff, if you think I'm wrong, please, by all means, comment, tell me to mind my own business and all of that. But I think that soul signs enabled you both to understand what it was you needed to do in order to get on the right track. But I think that you used it in a really wise and sensible way, and therefore it worked for you, and I'm pleased about that.
He says,
Go on.
I'm good being a fire sign. I have learned to not stoke the flames as much.
I think that's true. I'll agree with that. Let's have another question.
We've got Albertine.
Good morning, Albertine.
My mother had no religion in her life, just as her family. Do they have now a religion in heaven? And can they help us now?
Well, let me say that I believe the word religion is the most misused word in the dictionary. I mean, it means something different to everybody. I mean, you know, are you a religious person? What does that mean? Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Quran? What does it mean? It means something different to each person. I think what is more important than whether or not you have a religion or have a formal belief system. I think what matters is what's in your heart. And Albertine, I suspect your family have God in their heart, whether they call it God or whether they call it pure light or pure love or whatever that is. That's the you know, the I'd hate to use the word religion. That's the religion that I believe in. I don't believe in formal religions because I think, you know, even though I personally was brought up not by my family, but certainly by the church that I was sent to. I was brought up a Baptist. I am a firm believer in Jesus Christ. I am a firm believer in the fact that there was a man by the name of Jesus who was an amazing healer. But I'm also so open and so try to be so understanding and open about the beliefs of other people. Just because I was brought up in the Baptist faith, which I don't regret, and was actually baptized, which I don't regret, fully submerged. Don't regret it one bit because it was the most wonderful experience. I hate to use the word religion because it's so misused. So, do your family have God in their heart? Yes. Do they follow that God? Yes. Do they have that light in their lives, that beautiful and good intention? Excuse me. Sorry, do they have that beautiful and good intention to do the right thing? I think so. So I don't know if I answered your question, but there you go. Sorry. Keep talking, Carolyn.
No, you know what? I'm really starting to smell the red tide.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, keep going.
I think the red tide is irritating me
more. Okay, all right.
All right, Lori says.
Good morning, Lori.
Chaga tea.
Pardon?
CHAGA.
Yeah.
Chaga tea.
Yeah.
Has Grey Eagle ever used that in his life here? And does he have any advice about its use specifically?
No. I'm sorry. Short answers today. My eyes are watering. Sorry about
That's
that.
the red tide.
Let's keep going then.
Luciana.
Good morning, Luciana.
I've been abused my entire life and have been diagnosed with severe depression and severe anxiety. Today is my birthday. I'm 60 and all by myself in London. That's where she lives. And today my depression is so much worse. Will my life improve?
Luciana, this is a difficult one, darling. First of all, I'm really, really glad that you're watching us, that you're not too depressed, that you're able to switch on the TV or you switch on your computer and you're joining us. You're not all alone. You're not alone by any means. Those in the spirit world who are your family, who love you and who care about you. And I know you're probably thinking, well, there aren't many of those, but Greg will tell me that there is a lady who is with you on your birthday, who is standing right by your side, and who loves you and who cares about you. So anyone out there who thinks that they're on their own, I know because I've felt it myself, and I know that when somebody like me says you're not on your own, we tend to dismiss it. We want to shrug it off because sometimes it's so much more comfortable for us to stay in the depression than it is to move out of it. That is not criticism. It just happens to be a fact. I mean, I've been there myself. When I am depressed, I'm better than anybody else at it. I try to do the best I can. So what we're going to be doing, and Al and I, we're starting this, I think, next week. We're going to be doing some very short videos, and you might want to sort of pay attention to those. We're going to be talking about attitude is everything. I think it's everything is attitude, actually. Everything is attitude. Everything is about attitude. And we're going to try to help people such as yourself, Luciana, who do struggle to stay positive on a daily basis. If you want to tune into those little things, by all means, feel free to do so. So keep checking YouTube, everybody. Just not sure how we're going to be advertising it or letting you know. I'm sure on Facebook we'll be letting you know what's going on. So keep track of that. I think our first one is going to be next week. If you have a story, by the way, if you have a story that you want to tell us, or you're going through something particular right now, as you are, Luciana, and you want to join in with us, you can actually join us live. We can I don't know how it works, but what is it, Google Hangouts or something? You can go on live, or you can just simply tell us your story and we'll talk to you. You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to be, but those of you who are going through something right now and you might want to, you might want to join us to see what steps we're suggesting that you might want to take to improve your life. But Luciana, you asked me, will your life improve? When you start to take steps to improve it, then it will. Don't get despondent. Don't get distressed. We can help you. All right. So have a happy birthday. Smile. Your loved ones in the spirit world are with you. You are not on your own. Keep smiling, darling. And hey, you had your question answered today. Isn't that a positive? All right. Let's go to the next person, shall we? Next question.
Al says he's not on the live stream, but he's listening in.
Good morning, darling. I don't know why you're not on the live stream, but anyway, go ahead.
E, just the letter E, said, "Hello, Rosemary."
Good morning, E. Can't call you E.
So happy
Really?
to finally catch the live session with you. I recently read Proud Spirit. It has been amazingly helpful.
Thank you. Well, good. I'm glad. Thank you, E, for letting us know that. And I hope you're enjoying watching the show. I'm sorry about the coughing and the spluttering bit. But, hey, this is a live show, and it is what it is. That's all I say to people. It is what it is. Carolyn, let's go to the next one, shall we? We want to answer as many questions as we can today.
A real quick shout out to Matt. His beagle, Tyson, passed away 3 weeks back.
Oh, Matt, I'm so sorry.
And his boyfriend's grandfather died
And
also.
his
boyfriend's grandfather passed away.
Oh, well, you're having a bit of a tough time.
Yes.
So Matt, we'll send you healing if we may, and from me personally, try and remember death is not the end, it's the beginning. I'm sure you'll see your puppy sometime or another. And the grandfather, of course, is equally important, your friend's grandfather. Please just know that death is not the end, it is the beginning. Try and hold on to that. It is true that over the years I've lost a few puppies. I'm much older than you, Matt, so I've had a lot more perhaps, but I always manage to see them at some point or another. They always manage to come and say hello to me and let me know that they're okay. All right, so hold on to that fact, because I have a suspicion you might see your puppy soon. Let's have our next question, shall we?
Sharon. Sharon asks, when I say my late husband would be happy that I'm living my best, is it just wishful thinking that he would be happy for me? Or am I picking up that he is happy and feels I'm on the right path?
All of the above, I think. Sharon, good morning. I can't answer for your husband, so what I have to do is check in with Grey Eagle, who tells me your husband is ecstatic that you're moving on with your life, and apparently you're having a good time, which is really good. So is he happy that you're doing this? Without a doubt. Not all husbands are so happy, but I think that those who love us and who show genuine love, which Sharon, your husband does love you so very much. Those who love us, they want the best for us, and the best for us is for us to continue with our lives, to build our lives, and to find happiness. And that's what he wants for you. That you're thinking about it, wishful thinking, of course you are, but it doesn't make the facts any less. He's loving that you're loving your life again. How about that? Let's have our next question. We have, I think we have a couple of email questions, do we not, Carolyn?
Yes, we do.
Excuse me.
One is from Bronwyn.
Good morning, Bronwyn. Nice Welsh name there.
You speak of connecting with our souls when sleeping and through meditation.
Yes.
Can you explain where our souls reside? And we in the spirit world in some way, are we in the spirit world in some way, even though we are living on earth?
That's brilliant, Bronwyn. From a Welsh girl, I'm presuming you're a Welsh girl with a name like that, either you're Welsh or your family are somewhere or another. And having Welsh connections myself, I would give you a little taste of my voice, except it's gone today. Excuse me. So how to answer it? Give me the first bit again, would you?
Can you explain where
the soul is? You know, okay. So first of all, I ask this of my students. I get them going. I say, where do you think your soul resides? Some say within the heart, some say in the solar plexus, some say in the head, and so on and so forth. And I keep them going because does it really matter where the soul resides as long as it is? However, I will tell you that the soul is sort of an odd thing, really, because it's pure energy, and it's a bit like an alien thing. It can change shape. It can move out of you while still remaining inside of you. It can travel while still being a part of you. It can do all sorts of things. So imagine that sort of that weird alien shape that moves. You know, those. I'm talking back to Stephen King now. Where sort of you have this shape that moves in and out. And, you know, can sort of reside within you, reside without you, be both, be all of the above, certainly connecting always with that universal force that is out there that we can connect into. So the soul is sort of a little bit like an alien thing. I'm not sure if I don't describe this in soul signs. So you might want to read up on that because I describe much more about the soul and where it is and how it resides and its purpose and so on in the book Soul Signs, which is a great book. And if you want that book, all you have to do is you can get it online, you can go to Amazon, but we have our coffee book edition, which doesn't cost you any more, but it has blank pages in there so you can make notes and write and so on and so forth. And we updated it a year ago, was it?
Yes.
We updated it about a year ago. So email us, Rosemary at Rosemary Altea, if you want a copy. Can you remember how much it is? I can't remember. Not that much.
I want to say 15 to 17. I'm not sure.
Anyway, under $20, I'm sure. So anyway, if you want the book, please email us, Rosemary at RosemaryAltea.com. And if you want any of the books, if you email us, especially the new book, which is A Walk in the Clouds, you email us and we'll email you back and tell you exactly where you can get it from.
Well, lulu.com.
Yes, if you want to go to lulu.com, you'll find it there. Both of them.
Yes.
Oh, there you are then. Lulu.com. Go to lulu.com and you'll find the books. All right, let's have another question.
Sharon wrote in and asked, and I don't know if this is the same Sharon.
Morning, Sharon.
I was wondering about receiving an organ from another person. Of course, we are always thankful for the donor and the family gift that was given. But does the organ retain any thoughts, feelings, and some soul from the donor?
I'm going to say no, because the organ is a physical thing. I was checking with Grey Eagle there. If anybody was wondering what I was doing, I was just checking with Grey Eagle there. But if you want to know more about, you know, the organ donor stuff as far as relating to me and the work that I do, I'm going to suggest that you look for you go to the Lisa Gibbons, Leeza, Lisa Gibbons show. And there is it's an amazing show, even though I say so myself because I'm part of it. It's an amazing show. It's about two mothers who lost their sons. One was a boy who needed a new heart. The other was a boy who had an accident. So the one boy actually donated, after the accident, the parents donated the heart and this son received it. I'm not making this very clear. Go watch the show. I can't even remember what the show is. I can't even remember the date of it. But
It's on your page.
it's on my page. Go to Rosemary Altea, the whatever it is, YouTube, and go, you want to watch them all anyway, don't you? But there is this great one about these two mothers and the boy who donated his heart to the other boy. And the two mothers actually got to know each other, and they got to know each other quite well, and their families know each other. But it's an amazing show. Go watch that. You'll love every bit of it. I can still watch it now. I'm fascinated by the people's stories. All right, let's have another question.
Nicolina.
Good morning, Nicolina.
Is the universe hearing my thoughts? And if so, will my love visions, thoughts, will they come true anytime?
The card. This is an example of the card, don't you think? I suggest to people you buy a big white card and a big box of wax crayons. I say wax crayons because they have some great colours and they make a big splash over the card. You take the card and you make a border around the card at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide, and you colour the border. You can put butterflies and dragonflies or rainbows, or simply just put lots of different shapes and so on around and make the border as colourful as you like. And then in the centre of the card, you think carefully and you choose 3 to 4 things that you would really want to happen. And you think about how you're going to word it, and then you put them in order of importance. 1, for instance, $5,000 in the bank. 2, a new house. 3, a loving relationship with, like a mate, to find my soulmate or something like that you can put, and so on. And then you make sure you put that in black letters right in the middle of the card, and then you put the card somewhere. You hang it either in your bathroom, your bedroom. If you want to, you put it in your living room, somewhere where you're going to see it every single day. Because what happens is, even though on a conscious level, it's like that great picture that you bought, you put it up there. Most days, after a while, most days you don't even see it. Every now and again you take a look at it, but most days it's your subconscious that registers it. And when the subconscious registers this, then your soul is at work, your energy is at work, and you're striving towards those things, whether you know it or whether you don't. And is it Nicolina?
Yes.
Nicolina, sounds to me just exactly like what you're doing. But I'm going to suggest that if you do want it to be more powerful, you write this stuff down, and you make a point of sort of putting it somewhere where you can visualize it. Because, basically what you're doing is you're driving your energy forward, and you're driving yourself, and you're creating an energy within yourself that leads you open to these things. It works. It really works. But I'm going to suggest you write it down, because that makes it even more real, actually. It gives it even more power, I think. But good job. Good for you. Let's have a next question.
We've got a question from Olivier. And
Olivia. Okay.
Yes,
all right,
he's
then.
also written in
Okay.
To your email.
Okay.
Is there a chance, and it's from another country, so I'm just going to read it exactly as it said.
Yes, please.
Is it a chance to see people who have died, asks my 12-year-old son, Nicholas. And from what I understand in his email, his 12-year-old son believes he sees people who have passed.
So I think what you're asking and sort of interpreting it in English, is there a chance that people do see people in the spirit world? And the answer is yes. If you think that your son has this sensitivity, or if your son feels that he has this sensitivity, I'm going to suggest that you you find someone who can help you with this. Now, here is the issue. The issue is that there are so many people out there, and we all know this. I'm not being overly critical. I'm not being mean to anybody. I'm just stating facts, and the facts are that there are so many people out there, and I'm sure that, Olivia, you're going to have people writing into you saying, oh, well, I can help you with that. Yeah, talk to me, call me, what have you. You just have to be so critical and so careful about who it is you choose to help your son. Because at some point, especially if you don't quite understand this, your son is going to need to have talk to somebody sorry, your son is going to need to talk to somebody who can help him and can help him to understand what is going on with him. There is a very fine line between what is imagined and what is real. And initially, when people start to connect with those in the spirit world, initially it's hard to know where that fine line is and whether you cross over from imagination into reality, or whether you still, you know, how can you know the difference, and how can you tell the difference between what is imagined and what is real? So somehow or another, darling, my suggestion to you is to find somebody who excuse me, who your son can relate to, but be really, really careful, because we're talking about a 12-year-old boy, and the responsibility for this boy is, you know, that's on your shoulders. So please be careful about who you introduce him to, be careful about who you talk to, and I would vet them first and give them a really good, you know, just investigate them. Don't just have anybody. Just because somebody says, oh, I can help you, doesn't, good intentions, you know, what do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Excuse me. We know that. If I lived closer to you, I'd offer to help you. But obviously, you're in a different country, and then your son needs to be able to talk to somebody who can help him, and preferably in his own language. So is it possible that he sees these things? Is it possible that it's real? Yes, it is. It's also possible that he's at an age where he's much more sensitive. You know, the hormones and all the rest of it play a big part in this. It's possible that he sees now, but maybe in another couple of years he won't see anything. He won't have any connection at all. It's also possible that he might go on to be able to develop this and to do more of it. The secret is, don't push him. Let him go at his own pace. Don't have anybody in to talk to him who's going to say, oh, you know, you need to go into a trance state. Be really, really careful with this. You've got a 12-year-old boy, and just, I would say, just listen to him, let him talk to you, allow him to talk to you, encourage him to talk to you about what he's feeling, what he's seeing, and sort of take it a step at a time, responsibly. And at some point in the future, you may want to have him talk to someone sensible, feet on the ground, you know, a good, solid, sensible person. That would be my suggestion. This is a tough one, but you can handle it, I'm sure. Let's have our next question, shall we?
We've got quite a few people asking the same question. Do I have my loved ones around me, and how can I be sure?
Well, again, we come back to the, you know, is it my imagination or is it real? Our loved ones in the spirit world are, as I'm sure you all know, you're all asking the question and you know the answer to it. You know perfectly well that your loved one's around you because you feel it and you sense it, and you have a faith or you have a belief in that. How can you be sure is a whole different thing. I'm always going to tell you to apply the 3-time rule. The 3-time rule is this. If it happens once, it's okay, great, accept it, it's fantastic. If it happens twice, you need to pay more attention. But again, you know, that's okay. If it happens a 3rd time, then that's when you simply just have to just embrace it, accept it, embrace it, and move forward, because time will tell you whether it's your imagination or whether it's real. Excuse me, and only time can do that. Other than that, to be absolutely sure that you know that what you're feeling or what you're sensing is real, is to find someone like myself. But again, I'm going to say exactly the same thing that I said to Olivia. You've really got to be so careful. Don't afraid to be skeptical. Somebody like me who's real will tell you, be skeptical. It's okay to be skeptical. Don't be so skeptical that you're closed-minded. You know, be skeptical but open-minded about the things that are going on with you. And let someone who's really, really good help you and guide you. That would be my suggestion. But just because, even with me, when clients come to see me, just please, I don't mind if you're critical of me. It makes no difference to me. I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. If I do it, there'll be no doubt. You'll know. Right? Would you say that, Carolyn? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
If I do it, if I talk to someone in the spirit world, at some point, we leave you in no doubt.
Yes.
So, if you go see someone and you're still in doubt afterwards, well, find somebody else. Find somebody who's good for you, right for you. Okay. All right. I'm so sorry. All I'm going to do when I listen back at this thing is I'm going to hear myself spluttering coughing. This is my sexy voice, by the way, just so you all know. Because Al said, when I spoke to her on the phone this morning, he says, you sound like a monster. People are going to think you sound like a weird monster. I said, no, this is my sexy voice. So you got my sexy voice. Let's have another question, shall we?
Vera is asking
Good morning, Vera.
Healing prayers.
Certainly.
She is sick with kidney bladder problems.
Oh, yikes.
And her husband also needs our prayers.
All right. Well, we're going to put your name down on our healing list. But if anybody out there does, excuse me. If anybody out there does want healing, and myself included this morning, might I, if you go to our Facebook page, we have a healing page. If you don't know how to get to it or where to get to it, just email us, rosemary@rosemaryalaltea.com, and we'll certainly put your name down. You'll be on our list. Vera, you're on our list already. Even now, we're sending healing to you. Please let me know how you get on. Email us and tell us how you're doing. Please, please, please. I do not only sympathize with the kidney bladder thing, I empathize because, as a lot of you out there will know, I have the same issues myself. I only have one kidney. I've had all those bladder kidney issues. So, darling, stay strong. Stay strong. You can do it, and we'll send you healing. Okay.
We've got people from all over the world turning in. We've got John from Botswana, Africa.
Good morning, John from Botswana. Wow, that's a long way away. Yes.
And Marie from Norway.
Marie from Norway. Okay. Do we have
we can tell Honey Buns, yes, we will add her stepdad to the healing list.
Honey Buns.
Yes, isn't that cute?
That's so cute. Yes, thank you. Honey Buns would definitely, Carolyn's on it. We're adding is it stepfather?
Yes.
The stepfather?
Let us know his name.
Yeah, you need to just let us, first name is fine. We don't need the last name, but first name. We can hardly say, please put Honey Buns. Well, I suppose we could actually, we could. But if you just let us know his name, sweetie, that would work. No, you don't need the second name. We don't need all the details. So, Honey Buns' stepfather, right. Okay, keep going, Carolyn. Okay, what else are we doing here?
Rascal Flatts, who obviously is
Rascal
Flatts, which is a country music group, but
okay,
I think it's just somebody.
All right, Rascal Flatts, yes, okay.
Will I see and talk to my family that have passed on?
Well, eventually, yes. What can I say? Well, when it's your turn to go, I'm sure they'll be there waiting for you. Are you meaning before then, or are you meaning when it's your turn to go? And if you listen really carefully, and this is what I suggest to all of you out there who are wanting to communicate, if you can just take 10 minutes out of your day. Now, 10 minutes out of 24 hours is not a lot. It doesn't sound like a lot, but we're human, aren't we? So we have that difficulty sometimes, don't we, people? We have that difficulty in finding that 10 minutes. But this 10 minutes, if you want to talk to your family in the spirit world, or if you want to connect with your family in the spirit world, this 10 minutes is probably one of the most important times in your day. So you spend 10 minutes of every day, find a quiet place, find that same 10 minutes. Preferably, try and do it at the same time in every day, because you sort of have consistency then. And you find 10 minutes in your day where you're just going to sit, relax, make sure there are no interruptions. Turn your phones off, turn the computers off, lock the front door, put yourself in isolation for 10 minutes and sit quietly, because this is going to be your time. And then all you need to do is to say to those in the spirit world who you love, and you know who they are, and they know who they are, I just want to spend 10 minutes with you. I don't want anything from you. That's the secret ingredient right there. You're not connecting with them because you want advice from them or help from them, or you want to hear from them. You're connecting with them because you simply want them to know that you're there for them. And what happens is, and 10 minutes is a long time when you're not saying anything, you're not doing anything. So please, please, have that discipline that requires that you say nothing except I'm just here for you. And if you want to come around, that would be wonderful. And if you don't, or you're busy, that's also fine by me. And if you do that every single day, 10 minutes, that's all I'm saying, 10 minutes every day, sooner or later, you might be lucky, it might be sooner, but it certainly will be later, certainly will work at some point. Sooner or later, you're going to see, to sense, to be aware in some way of your loved ones in the spirit world. They will make themselves known. You might feel someone as simple as brushing your cheek. You might feel someone scratching your head. You might see a shadow go past or a light pop on in the corner there. You might see or sense or feel, you might just feel someone close to you. Just allow it to happen. Don't be too eager, and don't go in there with a big list of questions. Just all you have to do is say, I love you and I want to be with you. This is my 10 minutes to spend with you. That shouldn't be too much to ask, right? It shouldn't be too much for you to give. But the rewards can be huge, because sooner or later, if you're consistent and you do this on a daily basis, your loved ones in the spirit world will let you know one way or another that they are there with you. Right. Yes.
Emma asks,
Good morning, Emma.
do you think dogs come to this world to help us?
Well, as my puppy is sort of laid here on the sofa, of course I do. You know the answer to that question, don't you? Of course you know the answer to that question. I think they come here for their own reasons, but I also think that they are our help, our guide, our inspiration, and they give us love when nobody else can give us love. And there's the lovely lady we talked to earlier on who was it Lucinda, who was depressed?
Yeah,
Luciana. A dog or a cat helps tremendously, just let me say. Just throwing it out there for you. Let's have a next question.
Let's see. Well, Honey Bun's stepdad, by the way, his name is George.
Okay, thank you, darling.
And let's see.
Do we have any other questions?
Yes, we do.
Vera, yeah.
Do you believe in pendulum, that we can contact our loved ones? I tried and think my mother answered me.
I do believe in the pendulum, and it's one of the things I teach my students. Excuse me. It's one of the things that I teach my students. I think that the pendulum is simply, I don't really know that it's actually the pendulum, but the pendulum is an extension. We use the pendulum as an extension of our own energy. So, some of us need a tool. Some people use the pendulum. Some people use tea leaves. Some people use the tarot cards, whatever it is you use. But a pendulum, I found a pendulum to be very, very effective. There is a way to use it. There's a certain way to use it to make it, certain that you're getting the right answers. I've done this with my students. We've had experiments with the pendulum. Again, it is not so much the pendulum itself, but the way that we use it, which is an extension of our own energy. And we're putting our own energy out there. But the pendulum is something that some of us need to have to focus on. Some of us need a tool. It's a little bit like psychometry. That's when we hold an object and we extend our own energy. So a pendulum is the beginning of, or the learning, or the tool that we can use to extend our energy and to look further than, or to connect further than in some way or another than our ordinary vision or our ordinary energy will allow us to extend. I'm sorry, I'm really struggling here, but let's just keep going. Let's go for our next question. Carolyn, you're doing a good job there.
I thank you.
Do you think I'm doing a good job?
Yes,
because
I am.
let me tell you,
I
am going to collapse. I shan't be able to talk for the rest of the day. But at least I'm talking right now, right? You don't care, any of you do. You don't care that I'm suffering here. You're just going to keep with the questions. And I'm glad that you do. Let's have another question, shall we?
Hannah asked.
Good morning, Hannah.
What are your thoughts on using crystals as a tool for spiritual growth and development? I've been drawn to this a lot recently.
Yeah, I actually have done a little bit of crystal work myself. In fact, I have two crystals. If I'd known this question was coming up, I'd have brought them out. I have two crystals. They're not huge. They're just, sort of, fit in my hand, actually. There's one in particular that I like to use. But again, we're using a tool to encourage and to extend the energy that is within us. I always teach my students that, there are certain tools we keep in our tool bag. Some of those tools are, to do with the mind and mind energy, but there are certain things that we can use, like crystals, like pendulum, like cards, like, all of those things. We can use those tools. Dowsing is a fantastic way of, excuse me, of connecting with energy. And I know of an amazing dowser who amazed me. I've tried a little bit of dowsing myself. I teach my students to do dowsing. If you don't know what dowsing is the same as the pendulum. It's using, basically it's using two sticks or a pendulum or whatever it is to find whatever it is you're looking for. You find an answer, to find water, you can use dowsing for all sorts of things. But it's a tool that we can use to find things. And what it finds more than anything else is it finds the energy that's within us and it finds the ability within us that we can extend. And by using this particular tool, we can extend our energy and our knowledge. So, yes, so crystals, fantastic. And I think, crystals are fascinating. It's really, don't you think? I think so. Anyway, let's go for our next question. I'm muttering and going on. My voice is just barely holding out here. Anyway, go ahead.
Linda asks.
Yes, good morning, Linda.
Can we influence our dreams by asking for the content to be a certain way?
Well, yeah. What we're influencing when we do that? Yes. I think I understand your question, but there are dreams. There are certain dreams that are a reality that is happening, not a dream at all. So I think what you're asking is, can we use our dreams, or can we use our energy to maybe even to travel, or to extend the experiences that we're having when we're in our sleep state? And I think, it's easy for me to say, yes, of course, we can use our dreams. We can put forth in our mind. We can ask for things to happen or for experiences to happen. We can ask, to have a certain experience in our dream state. But I would not necessarily say that that's a dream that we're using. I would just say we can use the potential that we have to travel in our dream, in our sleep state, should I say, in our sleep state. So I think the answer is yes, but I'd be loath to necessarily call it a dream. Did I make sense then? Did I? I mean, I hope it made sense. If I didn't make sense, you'll let me know, won't you? All right, let's have our next question, shall we? I'm failing miserably here, yes.
How do you...
Good morning, Untubed.
How do you protect your energy? Some use a visual of a shield.
You can, well, just generally, anybody can protect their energy. I like to tell my students to use a bubble. Visualize a bubble and put yourself in it. Make that bubble as pleasant and as comfortable and as filled with color and as filled with light and good stuff as you possibly can get it, because that's a shield if you want. I personally would suggest that if you are concerned, then you say a prayer of protection. Dear God, protect me in the work that I do. I personally would not protect my energy, because I trust in those people I work with. I trust Grey Eagle. I trust God. I trust the universe. I trust Christ. I've got a lot of trust and a lot of faith. So I'm never looking necessarily to protect my energy. But it is important, I think, and I think this is probably what you're getting at, Untubed. I think that you need to be able to replenish your energy, not to drain your energy. And I think there are ways that we can replenish our energy. We're going to talk much more about that in our Everything is Attitude show. We're going to be talking about, positive thinking, the way of trying to use things in a positive way, and creating energy and making sure that we replenish energy is certainly going to be one of those topics that we're going to be talking about. Because I have seen people, and I think I've mentioned this before on this show, I've seen people who have certainly, depleted their energy trying to help everybody else, but they forget to replenish their own. So their own energy is depleted because they're giving out to everybody else and forgetting to give themselves as well. I encourage all of my healers to be selfish, not to the point of walking over everybody else by any means, but to be selfish in the fact that first and foremost, as a healer, you must give to your own self. You can see traveling for weeks and weeks and weeks has depleted my energy, can't you? Now I just need to replenish and get my voice back on track and get this horrible cough out of the way. All right, so I just want to mention, because I know we're sort of coming close to time, but I think I've mentioned Christ now twice on this show, and I don't want anyone thinking that I'm a Bible thumping person, shoving Christ down anybody's throat. But I do, having been brought up in the Baptist faith, having a fantastic church, a wonderful group of people who belong to the Church of Christ, which is no longer there, by the way. I visited my brother a couple of times when I was in England. Hi, Mal, if you're there, and hi, Jean, if you're there. I love you both. But in order to visit them, I had to go by the place where my Church of Christ, my beautiful Church of Christ, used to be. It's still a church, but it's not my church anymore. But I was brought up with Christ, and I would talk to Jesus Christ every single day, and probably gave him earache because I would talk to him sometimes all day, every single day. I'm a great believer in the fact that there was a man by the name of Jesus Christ who was an amazing healer, who lived on this earth for a period of time, and I believe that he is, part of my life, very much so. However, the little story I wanted to tell you briefly was that for the first time, I've been waiting for this moment. For the first time, my grandson Reese asked me, my daughter called me. She said, "You've got to talk to your grandson. He wants to know about God and Jesus." And she looked at me like, "You can tell him," because she didn't want the job. "You can tell him." And so he and I had a great, phenomenal conversation. He's 5 years old. You have to be so careful with your grandchildren. I'm going to be writing a book at some point with my friend Tam. I don't know if Tam's listening in at the moment, about how grandparents and parents can help their children with the subject of, life after death, all that, all of the above in my subject. But talking to Reese about Jesus was an amazing thing, because he had lots and lots of questions. I'm a great believer in never forcing children. Wait until they ask, but when they ask, tell them the truth. Tell them your truth. That's all you can do. And also, I encourage my grandson to understand that just because it's my truth doesn't mean that everybody believes what Mosey believes. But we have some great conversations. We briefly got into the God thing, but that's for another time. And let's have another question, can we? I'm joking here. Sorry. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm being a real pain in the butt. I'm going to collapse with maybe a little brandy with some honey in it. How does that sound?
You are getting a lot of thank you for all you do. I hope you get to feeling better.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're a real trooper for coming on here today.
I can barely keep my eyes open at the moment, but hope I'm doing all right. Anyway, let's just keep going, because this is fun, and I know you all need this. So it's a fun thing to do, and I'm enjoying myself. And thank you all for putting up with me. How about that? Thank you. So Another question, Karen.
Do you believe that burning sage has big power to get ghosts out of your house?
I do. I do believe in sage. I believe in the American way of things. It's not the sage as much as it's your belief and the energy that you're putting out there when you're doing it. Again, it's another tool that we're given to use. You know, sage is well, it's very cleansing anyway. I'm growing a bunch of it to keep a bunch of it in my little courtyard out there. I always grow it, and you know, I think that yes, because I think that the Native Americans certainly used it all of the time, and they used it in a certain way. They had a certain ritual with it, and it's much more about the ritual than the actual, you know, the using the sage. But the sage gives a beautiful, beautiful scent, and it's also very smoky. So you sort of get this whole ritual going on with it. I've used sage myself. I actually went to Italy once and used sage in a church and almost burned the house down. But that's a whole other story for another day. But yes, I do believe, again, we need tools. As human beings, we do need tools. It's good to have tools that we can use to, you know, to build our energy and to create that energy within us. So, you know, the shamans, the native shamans, and still today, they use that power of ritual to extend. The power of the ritual is a huge, huge thing that we can use. The same way that we use the pendulum is just, it's a ritual. So yes, I do believe that. Let's have another question, shall we?
Well, we've got a couple of suggestions to help you with your cough. Definitely a hot toddy is in order.
Thank you.
And try drinking warm milk with turmeric and honey.
Done that. Thank you. Every night. Thank you.
Pineapple juice.
Oh, pineapple juice. Okay, I can try pineapple juice. Yeah. All right. Didn't know that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you for persevering.
Good to know. And thank you all for all of that. We can have another question. Let's go for another question.
Dean wrote in. He's not with us today because he's getting a new foundation on his house. So no power and stuff.
All right.
But he wants to know, does Gray Eagle converse with other spirit guides? And if so, do they ever disagree on issues, and how would it be resolved?
How would I know? Never privy to those conversations, Dean. I'm asking Gray Eagle. Yes, of course, he does talk to other people. And you know, this disagreement thing that we've got going here on this earth plane. I mean, it's like, you know, it's all about not respecting another person's point of view. You only disagree if you're not open to another person's point of view. Why not agree to disagree? Why not agree to allow another person their own point of view? There's no need for arguments. There's no need for upsets. Tolerance is what Gray Eagle is saying to me today. And I think, unless we've got a very specific question on that, I think that's it for today. So why don't we, because don't can last any longer, why don't we end on that note? Because it is a great question. Thank you, Dean, for asking that question. And, you know, there are so many disagreements in this world of ours, and those disagreements only come from one source. And that source is intolerance, intolerance, intolerance. Why can't we simply be tolerant of other people's points of view, accept other people have a different way of thinking than our way, maybe even better than ours, maybe equal to ours? Who knows? What works for one person doesn't not necessarily work for somebody else, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong for that person. You know, God teaches us tolerance. Christ teaches us tolerance. Religions, faiths, belief systems that are any good at all, that are worth believing in, will teach us tolerance. Only tolerance and understanding and a pure acceptance of another human being simply because they are human beings. Remember, Chardin actually wrote, Teilhard Chardin wrote, we are human beings having a, what did he write? Spiritual experience.
Yeah.
And no, he didn't. He wrote, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So I wrote, we are, yes, I agree completely. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. But please, I add this little bit to Hal Deschadan's little quote, please, in a spiritual way, in a loving and a gentle and a kind way. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, but can we make it in the most perfect and the beautiful and most spiritual way? And that's it. Hopefully my voice will be back next week. Hopefully I will be not croaking and coughing and all the rest of it. So let me say thank you, Carolyn. Thank you to Grey Eagle. Thank you to my puppy Cachorro for being with us. Thank you, all of you out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you for putting up with me and my coughing and my spluttering. I'm holding my breath here, trying to get through this. Once we switch off, I'm going to be heaving and coughing all over the place. So I'm apologizing to Carolyn before she has to put up with that. And in the meantime, please, until I see you again next week, watch out for the new show that we're going to be doing, which is Everything is Attitude. We'll let you know more about that. We'll be posting that on Facebook to let you know more about that. So tune in for that part of it. And again, if I remind you, if you do have a situation that you're going through now, and you do feel that you could do with a little help and advice on that, we'll certainly give you our point of view and try to help you to be more positive and have a more positive attitude, and maybe sort of give you some little insights into the things that you can do to make it better for yourself. So again, thank you very much for joining us today. And until I see you again next week, please, please, please have a very, 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 I've got to find that little arrow now. There it is. Have a very, very, very blessed day.